Good afternoon, and welcome to the Sunday edition of Mortuary Moments by Mark, and my first actual broadcast on my new YouTube channel, Mortuary Moments by Mark. So, I would like you all to subscribe to this channel if you would, please. We'll keep sharing it on Facebook as well. So, I think the question for today that we're going to answer is pre-arranging and prepaying your funeral valuable or a smart decision? So going against perhaps what every prepayment company would tell you, that it's not always, well, they would tell you that everybody should prepay their funeral, but as a funeral director, my job is to watch out mostly what's best for my consumers, the families that we serve. So I wouldn't say it's always the best idea. I think the best thing to do is sit down with the funeral home that you plan to use when you pass away, and talk to the funeral director that takes care of their prearranging or their prearrangement counselor, and see what the best options for you are. I do believe it's important that everybody prearrange their funeral. That just is simply sitting down and getting all of your wishes written down in a file at the funeral home, so when you do pass away, that your family knows exactly what you would like to have done, whether it's a traditional funeral or perhaps something more of a celebration of life, cremation. Certainly a lot of different options out there. So I do believe everybody should prearrange their funeral. I definitely do believe that. Prepaying your funeral. So basically what happens, particularly at our funeral home, we use a life insurance product from a company called Homesteaders. They only do funeral pre-plans and prepayments, so they kind of have all their eggs in one basket, and we use them. They're pretty local. They're based out of Des Moines. I think it's a great company. They definitely keep an eye on the consumer funeral trends, and what's certainly best for the consumer, because what's good for the consumer, it's good for the funeral home owner, and certainly it's also good for their company. So when you prepay your funeral, we use the terminology, we guarantee it. Basically, all of our goods and services, we guarantee that whatever you paid at the time that you prepaid your funeral, nobody in your family is ever going to pay any additional money unless they change it, upgrade, or something to that effect. What does that mean, guarantee? So guaranteeing is the policy goes into a basic whole life insurance policy that pays interest or dividends. Those interest and dividends make the policy worth more. So when you pass away, certainly the same funeral that you chose in 2019 is going to cost more, say, in 2030. We, or the company, we together guarantee that interest will stay up with our cost of inflation over the course of time. So say you use, let's just use $10,000 for example. If that's the amount you prepay and that's the guaranteed amount, no matter what the funeral cost would be in 2030, your family's not going to have to pay any additional money. If the policy grows to more than the funeral cost, the family gets a return of whatever the left is. If it does not grow enough, the funeral homes discount the amount in between. Now, there's also a section that a lot of folks choose to prepay that we do not guarantee. That's what we call the cash advance items. Those are things like the grave opening at the cemetery, flowers, newspaper obituaries. 10, 15 years ago, newspapers didn't even charge for their obits, so older prearrangements don't even have that in there. So those are things that the pricing structure and the amount that the price goes up over the course of time, certainly not something we have any control of, so we cannot guarantee it. You can put that money in there, and it certainly takes care of a majority of the cost, and most of the time takes care of the entire cost. But there are times that there isn't enough money in the cash advance section or the non-guaranteed section. Another reason that, that's certainly one of the main reasons that folks do choose to prepay their funeral, is just because then they know the cost is taken care of. Some folks choose not to prepay because they have enough money saved up that they have set aside for their funeral expenses. Some folks have life insurance. At that point, they're basically double insured. So truly, prepaying your funeral is something that's a lot of a personal decision, and one that I think is best for you to sit down and talk with your funeral director and or slash pre-arrangement counselor, or whatever they call that position at whatever funeral home you certainly would want to use. But if you have any questions about prepaying or pre-planning your funeral home with our funeral home, certainly feel free to give us a call or shoot me an email at mark@watsonthomas.com. And this is my first actual YouTube video, so I would love it if you would subscribe and perhaps share it with your friends. So if you find this information valuable, we'll keep trucking along down the road here with Mark's Mortuary Moments. Mortuary Moments by Mark. We'll keep coming with that down the road, and some more great information as we truck along. So I appreciate you taking the time here today, and as we can see why I changed it from Mortuary Minute by Mark, because we're rolling at 6 minutes today. We're still going to try to keep these videos brief, so not to bore you too long with too much content. So there's a lot of things to learn about what we do at a funeral home and why things are done the way they are. So keep tossing those questions at me. Just feel free to shoot me an email, as I said, mark@watsonthomas.com, Mark with a K, and or just comment below the video. Again, I appreciate you taking the few minutes here to tune in and learn a little bit about funeral service today. Have a great evening.